going to show you a couple of common household items that can help you get a campfire going no matter what the conditions. I'm going to show you how something as common as steel wool and a 9-volt battery can instantly get you a fire. Check out how quick this 9-volt battery ignites the steel wool with just a single touch. Also, I'm going to show you how a couple of common household snacks can help extend your fire even if it's really wet outside or just plain nasty and you can't find any good tinder. I also want to go over just a couple of the basics when building any fire. The worst mistake people make is they go and they try to start a fire off of a single match or with a lighter and some gigantic log. You really got to build up to it. So a fire has 3 different things that it needs. It needs heat, it needs fuel, and it needs oxygen. So if it's wet outside and you try to start your fire on the ground, it's not going to happen because the ground is wet and it's also colder than the air around it, so it's going to suck all the heat out of it and your fire's not going to go. If you put too much in your fire, you're going to smother it. It's not going to get enough oxygen. It won't be able to breathe. Now, your fuel is a big thing. You really want to start with the smallest thing possible. Start with fluff, tinder, things like dryer lint. Anything that is small and has a lot of surface area is really going to help ignite. You really want to move up from there to something about the size of a pencil lead. And then once that starts going, you want to move up to something about the size of your pinky. And then from there, you want to go to the size of your index finger. Then you want to go to the size of 2 fingers, all the way up to the size of a wrist, and then up to your logs. If you follow these steps and you go step by step and you don't really jump the gun, you shouldn't have any problems getting a fire going. All right, guys, so what I've got here is a very basic teepee style fire. Nothing fancy, just something to get a fire going. What I'm going to show you today is how to start this fire without a lighter or without any matches. Now, a lot of you might be saying, you know, why don't you have a match? Why don't you have a lighter? Good point. However, the key here is to show that no matter what you do, things always break, tools break, they wear down. You always want to have multiple different ways to do things. This is just one of them. So that being said, I'm going to start just a basic fire here. I've got my teepee started. I've got a bird's nest that I made out of some twisted dried grass that I found. I've got some very small twigs. I'm going to build up around it. I'm actually going to take my steel wool. I'm going to fluff it up, get it nice and fluffy. The more surface area there is on this, the faster and the hotter it will burn, the more likely you will be to have fire. Another key thing to keep in mind here is safety. It's been raining out here for the last couple of weeks off and on, which is kind of unheard of out here in Austin. The ground is nice and wet, but I still don't want to run the chance of starting a grass fire. It could be very, very bad. So I found a nice flat rock here, and I built a small fire pit around it to try and keep everything contained. Also, one key thing to note when making a fire using rocks, you never, ever, ever want to use rocks that were anywhere near a river, in a puddle, in a lake. They can contain water, and once they heat up, they can actually explode and turn into little shrapnel grenades, which is not something you want to be dealing with. So let's go ahead and get this fire built and started. All right, so this is a very basic, very ugly teepee style fire, and I'm just going to show you, watch how quickly this ignites with just a touch of a 9-volt battery. And we have fire. Now you want to let this burn and catch and start to get these twigs set up before you start putting the bigger sticks on it. This is a good base for your fire. All right guys, so we got a fire going with the steel wool and the 9-volt. Started pretty quick, burning pretty hot, good to go. Now I want to show you a quick tip that if that didn't work for whatever reason, if you needed something to keep your fire going just a little bit longer to make sure it starts, and you happen to have a bag of corn chips sitting around. Corn chips are good, they're tasty, they're also highly flammable, and they work like candles. So, just a simple corn chip, tasty. If you do have a lighter, simple Bic lighter, and a little corn chip. Make sure they're corn, they burn the best, potatoes don't really burn as well. Just a couple seconds under a lighter. Burns like a candle. Any type of corn chip, Doritos, Fritos, doesn't matter. They all burn really well, they taste great, and they make a nice little candle. So guys, I hope you enjoyed these quick tips. Be sure to subscribe and check back regularly. We got a lot of great stuff coming your way.